Welcome to Rhodes. Rhodes is the rapid order and distribution system which is part of the Pegasus Opera 3 suite of applications. Rhodes is designed for businesses that sell to their customers on a regular basis, either from incoming calls or calls that are made by the telesales team. Rhodes has a number of different aspects to it, but the main part of the system is the ability to create an order quickly and efficiently. For this, we have designed an order form which is simple to use. The order form is made up from a template order, which in this case shows all the items that this particular customer normally has. It can also show default quantities, so they would normally have 10 of these and 20 of these. This of course can be overridden. The system will cater for dual quantities, so we can have units here and we can have the kilo weight here, as we will see in a moment. Each customer can have their own price, so there can be a recommended selling price, or a customer or group of customers can have their own prices for each of the products. If required, we can show the cost price on here, and we can also put into here a margin warnings. So if, for instance, on crisps we are achieving only a 12% margin when the minimum is set at 15%, it will then warn us accordingly. Customers can also have their own discount tables, so they can have a certain discount for a given product or range of products. As the quantities are entered, so we have a net line value, it also shows us the last price that the customer paid, and then it can show us up to the last 16 weeks or last 16 deliveries what quantities the customer has been buying. This gives the telesales person an immediate view of the buying history and can see if there's any upward or downward trends in a particular item or range of items. The stock reference field is actually structured so that it sorts the order by the stock category, its telesales category, and then by the stock reference itself. As an example, if we were to look at, say, frozen foods, then all the frozen foods could be together, and these would then be sub-sorted by the frozen vegetables, frozen meats, frozen sweets, etc. At the bottom of the order we have the special offers. These show on every customer order, and they are here to draw the attention of the telesales person, because these are things that we have got either on special price, or it may be things that we just simply need to remove out of the stock before they reach their sell-by date. Entering the order details are quite straightforward. We can say, right, okay, we want a number of these items. We can search on a big list for items, and we can override the standard quantities. Each time while we're doing this, the total goods, the total VAT, and the grand total is actually being calculated. We can also see at the top of the screen here the account balance and the credit limit if one has been set, and if this order will take if this order in combination with the account balance will take it over its credit limit, then we can show that. If we wish to add another item, we can simply do this by typing in either part of its name or part of its stock reference, and it will bring out a list for us. In this case, this is the one that I require. It's also telling me what the pricing is and what the in-stock and free stock situation may be. At the point of adding the gammon steaks onto this order, it is now asking me if I wish to add this to the template order. In other words, is this a one-off purchase, or is it something that someone is going to buy on a regular basis? Likewise, if I give a special price to this customer for this item, I can add that special price into their price list on the fly. It has now sorted it into the sequence it needs to, because it's now sorted it by the category, telesales category and stock reference. And at this point, I'm now going to put in a quantity. So we're saying that we want 10 packs of 2. I have the ability within the system to set up associated items. So in this instance, if I'm selling gammon steaks, it now says, okay, would the customer also like to buy pineapple rings or maybe apple sauce? And I can say, well, yes, they would like to have 2 of those and 1 of those. Add that to the order, and now those items have been added to the order, but again sorted into the correct sequence that we require. If I add another item, let's just say for instance I want sirloin steaks, we can see that these are the average of 250 grams each. Again, I can add this to the template order or to the price list, but something different will happen here now. Is if I say I want 12 of these steaks, it automatically calculates that that will be 3 kilos in weight, and so it's pricing that by the kilos and not by the individual units. When we come to actually pick this order, I can then override the kilos and will therefore be able to recalculate the actual invoice value of the order itself. So where does all this information come from? I'm just going to cancel this order at the moment, and we'll just have a quick look at the individual records. So here is the customer that I've selected. If I now go into the telesales options, I can see on here which days I call this customer and at what time, which days do we deliver on, and I can also have different rounds for the different days that we're working on. Who is it assigned to? So I can just pull up a list of individual users and assign it to somebody. Is it cash? Is it check? Or is it an account customer? And how long do I want to hold the history for this, or hold and actually display the history for this customer? And what do I do about adding new items into the order templates, the price lists, or if any prices are actually changed? I can also maintain on here the template order. And the template order consists of a number of items here. If I just go onto one of those, we will see that in fact I have the item, the description, which can be the customer's own description. I can also use the push or blocked facility. Blocked means that the customer is not to be offered this item. Pushed means that it will show on the order form, but in fact it's something there to bring to the attention of the telesales person so that they will try and get the customer to take this item. And in here we have the standing order quantity. Templates can either be set up within the road system, they can be copied from the price list or from other templates, or they can be imported from Excel spreadsheets. If we were to then look at the stock control system, we will see that if I go to my gammon steaks, these are in packs of 2. We have the standard selling price here, but on this particular item, if I go to associated items, we can see here how we can then set up these so that we have a suggested quantity for each of the associated items with this. If I pull up my sirloin steak, I can also go in here onto the options where I can set this up as a dual quantity item. By ticking this box here, it says that we will be working in units and in weight. And the relationship I've set up here is that for every unit of quantity, there is 250 grams working to 3 decimals. I have said that if I put a unit in, I want to automatically populate the second item. I have also put into here a tolerance of 10%. So in our previous example, if I was selling 12 at 250 grams, the total should be 3 kilos. If I was to type in 3.4 kilos, then the system will come back and tell me that I am outside of that tolerance and will ask me to confirm that that is okay. If I enforce tolerances, it must be within the 10% plus or minus. When I'm taking the order, I can also say that I want to input the quantity first and let it work out the weight, whereas when I'm editing the picking list, I am then putting in the actual weight, and so the weight would go in first and it will then recalculate the quantity if required. Within the road system we have the call list. So this is telling me who I need to call today, and on this particular list I have 4 people that I still need to call. I may well call Abingdon Restaurant, make the call to Roger Davies on that number, and Roger says, I'm sorry, I'm not available to take your call at the moment, could you call me back in an hour? In which case I can escape from the order, I can say that I have still yet to call, and I can set myself a new time. So I could now set that time to be 11:30 today. And that one now has a to call still on it. I could then go on to Carr's Restaurant, for instance, and same sort of problem, but he is going to call me back, and he said that he'll get back to me by 12 o'clock today. And so now the status on that one is awaiting a reply. Back onto this one, we've now made the call. We're going to have 2 of those, 3 of these, 4 of those, 6 of those, 2 of those. We're going to also add the gammons into here, but this time I'm going to add it onto the template order, and if I say that I'm going to want 12 of those, and I could now have my 3 of those and 2 of those additional items as well. At this point we can now come back to the remainder of the calls that are assigned to me, or indeed I can show all the calls. I can see where an order has been created, and I can see if there's anything left outstanding for other users. So in a busy telesales environment, if someone has finished all their calls and somebody else hasn't, that person can then come and pick up that particular call and process the order accordingly. Once all the orders have been created, we can then go into create the picking list. On this particular one I'm going to create for all rounds and for deliveries due today and tomorrow. And I can pick for the round, I can pick for the order, or I can pick for an individual document. I can then print out the picking lists accordingly, and these will come out onto either a printer or onto the screen or onto a file such as a PDF. And here is an example of one of those picking lists showing us which orders they apply to and the quantities that are actually required. Obviously these can be multi-page documents. Once all the orders have been picked, then we can go into the edit picking list. At this point I'm going to pick the same for all the rounds and for the same dates as we had before. We will see that in this instance it has already assumed that the quantity picked is the same as the quantity that we actually ordered. In this case here I could say that, well, when we went to pick it there wasn't any, so that order line will not be shipped. It may be that the customer wanted 2 of these but has now said in a subsequent phone call, actually I need 4 of those, so we can now overpick that item and it flags it accordingly. There are batches also here that have been picked, but what I can do is to change the batch allocation on that. So instead of saying that it came from that batch, I can say no, in fact, although they should have come from that particular one, they actually took it from that batch there, and in which case the batch assignment has been changed. Once everything is all okay, I can then come into here and say OK, and it creates all the batches for us. So we're now ready to go into the loading schedule, the delivery and invoice, and also to generate the waybills. As this is purely a demonstration, I have prepared some of these in advance. So, for instance, an invoice design. In this particular one, it's also being used as the delivery notes. It's got all the items on there. We could have the dual quantity on there if required, because these document designs are completely user-defined. And at the end, we've actually got something here, an area where the customer can sign and date the items as well to say that they've received them. The driver will be given a waybill. Now the waybill will tell him in which sequence the order has to be delivered. So it's going to Adam's restaurant first and then to the snack bar second. It tells them the address. It tells them also what items they need to deliver and confirms the quantity on those. Relates back to a delivery note as well, and the customer can have a place here where they can sign and date and time. If we are also delivering either chilled or frozen items, then the van driver can put the van temperature in here, which again the customer signs for to make sure that in fact they've agreed the temperature that the goods were delivered in. The final item which the driver will be given is the paying in sheet. And here it's telling him where he's collecting money on account or if he has to collect cash. And at the end of the round, he can then fill in the cash sheet here and put his name and sign it, and that goes straight into the accounts department so they can then reconcile it. So that is a brief overview of the road system. There are several reports that one could write in here, plus there is a reporting feature within Opera 3 where you can design your own reports. Everything has been designed to look and feel like the host Pegasus Opera 3 system. It's also been designed to be simple and intuitive and easy to use. Thank you very much indeed for watching this demonstration.